I serve as the Executive Director for the California Head Start Association and would like to welcome all of you online this morning. We are going to do this morning just a brief, about a 30-minute overview on our Early Math Family Engagement Project. And it'll be a chance for you to learn a little bit about the initiative, what it could offer for your agency. We'll have a chance for some questions. Questions we ask be submitted by text. There's a text box that you can submit questions in, and if it's an urgent question, we may interrupt the speaker to ask the question. Otherwise, we'll save the questions for the end. Also, this is being recorded, and so if you know someone who wanted to catch this content and couldn't be with us this morning, they'll be able to go back on probably later today on the CHSA website and click a link to be able to take in this information. So let me begin by introducing our presenters this morning. As I mentioned, I serve as Executive Director for CHSA, and then we also have Laura Keeley Saldana, who is our Project Manager for this, and also some of you might know Laura from when she served as the Education Manager at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. We also have Debbie McBee on the line, who is an early childhood specialist with SDGI through our regional TNTA office. And we are delighted to have really close collaboration with the TNTA office on this project. So let me just give folks a little bit of an overview on why we're doing this project. This is really evolved out of both a request and interest from many programs, but also from the research. I mean, what we're realizing is that on the one hand, math is a powerful predictor and a tool for later child outcomes, but the FACES research out of Head Start has indicated that math scores with Head Start programs are have really not improved over the last few years. That we know math scores are one of the lowest areas for DRDP assessments, and we also know that in the proposed new performance standards that family engagement and school around child development and school readiness are increasingly important priorities for programs. So those are all reasons why programs we know are interested in these kind of resources and why this kind of a project could support programs. A big emphasis for this project is to reduce what we've heard described as math anxiety, whether it's with teachers or assistant teachers or with some of the family service staff or with parents, that when it comes to early childhood, that math is really about helping kids learn how to think and about kind of relationships and patterns. And it's something that the adults in their lives can really assist them with. So on the next slide, I want to just talk about the project as we've conceived it. We've had some great conversations last year and actually early this year with education managers and family service managers around what's the best way to tackle this. And what evolved was a kind of a partnership approach where we realized the best way to have an impact with young children is going to be to engage parents. And a way to do that is to bring in both sides of our house, the family services and the education staff. So all the training materials and resources that have been developed for this project have been developed with that in mind. We actually had a consultation with a number of family services and education staff, and the master trainers that we're using in this project come from both the family services and the education side. We're going to be delivering this through regional CHSA regional clusters. So, you know, most of you have been to probably a regional cluster meeting or more in your area, and those clusters were designed for people to be able to get to a meeting and come home, you know, the same day. So we're organized. So we're doing this way to make travel easier for folks. It will be, the regional trainings we're going to be doing are going to be 2-day trainings, and we've got this being staffed by master trainers that we're bringing on, but also we are delighted that we have 11 staff from the TNTA network who actually participated in our master training, and they're going to be actively involved in supporting programs as we you know, advance this project. So anyway, that is the background for this project. I, at this point, would like to turn the presentation over to Laura to talk a little bit more deeply about early mathematics.
Okay, thanks, Rick. So now I want to share with you a little bit about the research in early math. You'll see 2 studies here. The first study is the Early Childhood Longitudinal Study Kindergarten Cohort, which identified over 20,000 children at kindergarten entry and followed over half of them into elementary school. They found that the children living in poverty were on average behind in their math knowledge at kindergarten entry compared to the children from more economically advantaged families. And more significantly, or not more significantly, but significantly, the children's math knowledge at kindergarten entry predicted 5th grade and 8th grade achievement in both reading and math. So having those math concepts early on increased the reading comprehension skills as well as the math. So we'll go to the next slide. So what are the benefits of attending the Early Math Family Engagement Project and training? All staff can benefit from the research regarding why early math is important, and we were intentional in including infants and toddlers in the training material that we're providing. So we're going right from birth all the way through ages 6 or so. In the project, family service staff and education will work together to develop a plan that they'll take back to their agencies for review. Our hope was that continued collaboration across disciplines will increase outcomes for children and families. The project addresses family engagement and school readiness for children and families through early math games, math in books, math room patterns, their learning environments, and other fun and engaging activities that help children learn math concepts early in life. Throughout the training, class techniques are embedded, such as advanced language, analysis and reasoning, including problem solving, prediction, classification, and comparison. And the activities are based on adult and child interactions and are intended to increase the adult-child relationships in a fun and interactive way. Now I will turn things over to Debbie.
Okay. Thanks, Laura. From the TNTA side, we really want to say how excited we are about this project and that we get to have an opportunity to participate and then to support California grantees to really advance and increase the opportunities for young children around early math and, you know, working with their staff and, of course, working with families. One of the things that we recognize, and I know most of you, if not all of you, have now seen and are trying to figure out how you're going to implement the new early learning outcomes framework. So within that framework for infants and toddlers and for preschoolers, mathematics development is a strong component. And so under the domain of cognition for infants and toddlers, we see the subdomain of emergent mathematical thinking for infants and toddlers. And as Laura mentioned, infants and toddler support for early math is really embedded into this project. Then the same with preschool. We have there is a subdomain in the mathematics development around counting and number knowledge and skills, comparing, recognizing numerals. And of course, there's other focuses with those number operations, with some of those goals being adding a subtracting, and even some of the algebraic thinking around understanding patterns and measurements, of course, geometry and spatial sense. And so we can just move to the next slide. We can continue with our math talk. So math talk really supports learning. So even just some of those words I just used, helping staff in classrooms be able to have more of this content, and as Rick mentioned, reduce some of that math anxiety, but also helping families to move in that way, where they're very comfortable talking to their children, because this is definitely a critical thinking opportunity. So we know that the research mentioned earlier, it really involves a lot with early math interventions and how we can support children in those classrooms, infants and toddlers and preschoolers. And some of those, there's also some very interesting recent observational research that focuses on math language that adults use when they're talking with children. Children really need many, many opportunities to be exposed to math talk, and I think that this project gives a great is a great venue and avenue for that to be, for programs to be able to engage that way. So if we could move to the next slide, please. All right. Again, that family engagement piece is so critical, and so helping families and helping staff to be able to support their infants and toddlers and the preschoolers with early math. We get the opportunity through this project to provide support of how children can explore quantity with objects, how we can have more conversations around more, less, a lot, a little, helping children just understanding about number words. And this even goes back to some of those patterns and other things by having, we already do a lot of things that are math related, and sometimes we don't make that connection, and we want to be sure that we're making those connections around singing songs and when we have books, and also when we're playing games. Things like taking turns are also very strong mathematical concepts. And of course, we don't want to forget that adult-child interaction, we really want to increase we want to really be able to intentionally support meaningful adult-child interactions for the young children that we're serving in our program, and so that they have more critical thinking opportunities, and that those areas of higher order thinking can be strengthened. So thinking about that class connection with instructional support domain, early math is a great way to to identify and intentionally support young children's critical thinking. And, you know, having more of those conversations, having those feedback loops, having those opportunities to re-engage children around math is really a supportive effort that class can actually can be introduced through class. I guess that's a really good way to say that. So because this project intentionally focuses on math talk and this higher order thinking, there's such a great emphasis so that we find that math is everywhere and that anyone and everyone can actually embrace math concepts. So again, we can reduce that math anxiety and really support young children's critical thinking. So obviously you can tell how excited I am about this, because I think that this project has far-reaching effect, can have very far-reaching effect, and we are glad to be a part of it. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Laura.
Yep, next slide. Excellent. So who should attend these trainings? We were intentional in making sure that Early Head Start and Head Start were part of the information that we're sharing. So I would encourage both Head Start and Early Head Start staff to attend. Anybody on the list above, family service folks, family child care, teachers, coaches, mentors, ed managers, home visitors, parent liaisons, if you have them in your program. Any staff who work with families or children could use information regarding early math and family engagement and how to really enhance the work that families do with their children at home. The training does have a balance, as I mentioned, of infant and toddler as well as preschool level information. And I mentioned as well before that part of the project involves creating an action plan that they would like to implement over the next school year. So this training is designed for teams to work together from different disciplines. One of the, Rick had mentioned earlier that we had met with some of the management staff in the February CHSA, I think it was the education conference, and we were going to launch in the summer of last year, and the feedback was, hey, you know, we're working on our TNTA plans and our grant applications now. We need the training, you know, in January, February in order to implement in the following school year. So we heard that loud and clear, and so we did our pilots in the summer, did our master training, and then the training will be in the winter and spring of this year, so you can incorporate any trainings that you want to do for your parents or staff coming up in the next school year. Next slide. So what will your staff walk away with? They will get lots of research that supports the importance of early math, some hands-on activities that are fun and engaging, lots of strategies to help staff think about family engagement and school readiness together. We do include online resources at the CHSA website, so all of the handouts and books and information that we are presenting at the training are also available online right now at CHSA, the Early Math resources page, and you can print out whatever resources you like. We also have some examples from other agencies. SETA and SCCOE are two programs that do a lot around family engagement and early math, and they have graciously allowed us to post some of their ideas, so you can go on that website and take a look at what they're using. In addition, we'll be providing some outreach through social media for families and staff on early math activities as this project develops. The action plans that your staff who attend the training will develop are really a boilerplate for further collaboration and planning. So they're going to get some time to work together on their action plans of how they want to bring back family engagement and early math into the program. They will need to be vetted with the executive directors, program directors, management, policy council, and the powers that be at your agency. So they're not set in stone. They're really to get the thinking started around family engagement and early math. And then the participants will receive follow-up from their master trainer to provide additional support if needed. So the master trainer after the training will give the participants a call or come by and see how things are going, if the action plan is being implemented or if they were able to implement or if they needed help in any other way. If you can go to the next slide.
Thanks. Could I just jump in actually on that, Laura? You know, we're really aware that with the new performance standards coming out probably in September, that there will be an increased expectation on programs to focus more of their parent engagement activity on child development. And so this project really syncs well with that. We actually see these resources as we're providing programs tools to the programs that you, through your action plans, can modulate in different ways, but that ultimately they're resources both in the classroom and for how you engage parents. Along those lines, too, we'll be using some social media, and we're actually reviewing some of the math apps out there right now that are appropriate for early childhood. There's some pretty good research on this subject around kind of what some of the most effective apps are. So we see this project as something that is going to have multiple levels to it. There's a classroom piece, there's the staff engagement of parents, and then there's actually other resources like, you know, online apps and so forth that parents can use directly. And all of those feeding together, we see as a way for you to be able to strengthen the child outcomes in your program.
Agreed. And then having the TNTA network also be so supportive of this project will really help the sustainability. They have been very enthusiastic about the Early Math Family Engagement Project, and so I really thank the TNTA network for jumping on board and really embracing this with me. So let's go to the next slide. So these are the locations that we are providing training in your clusters. We are taking the training on the road to you to reduce the cost of travel expenses and other family commitments that your staff may have. So this is not in order of date, it's order of cluster. So you'll see that the cluster 1 training in Riverside is March 10th and 11th. So the next training that we have coming up is January 14th and 15th in Merced. It's cluster 6. So we've arranged with the master trainers and the agencies who have graciously agreed to host the trainings, the dates and locations for our training. This gives you just a general idea of where the different training sessions will take place. They are 2-day trainings, with the exception of the March Santa Barbara training. Those are not consecutive days. That's March 3rd and 14th. They're both Mondays. So the other trainings that are listed will be 2 consecutive days. Next slide, please. So to sign up, you've seen this postcard, or either through your email or possibly at your agency. You sign up at the caheadstart.org, and you will go to the Early Math Family Engagement Project and easily sign up. The cost is $75 per person for both days, and it includes the resources, materials, and the training itself. And then that's the end of our presentation, so I'll hand things over to Rick for the next slide.
Thank you, Laura. So just want to acknowledge a couple of folks, if I could. First off, we're able to do this project because of a generous grant from a foundation, which basically is underwriting all of the development costs. We've been able to tap a lot of different resources, bring in a really expert person. Some of you may be familiar with Ann Wakely, but she's the person, one of the key consultants in the development of the OHS resource guide, High Five Mathematize. And so she has been super helpful to us in really, as we pulled together master trainers for this project. And then with the financial support from the foundation, basically all programs are paying for when you register for this thing is at the cost of your meals and the handouts. Everything else, all the training expenses are being borne by the foundation. So we're thrilled to be able to bring something to folks at such a modest cost. The other final point I wanted to make, and by the way, if folks have any questions, please go ahead and type them in now, and we'll respond to those. But the format we think is we've scheduled for time. I think that's going to work well for folks, and we have limited registration or limited space. We're saying that agencies can register up to 4 people per agency. If your agency, your program would like to send more than that, go ahead and submit that information now, and we can consider those people, those extra folks from your program on a waiting basis. And our goal is we want to have as many programs be able to participate as possible, but we also want is if there is extra space, we want to be able to accommodate programs. So don't necessarily hold back if you have people besides the 4 you initially identify. I think that is all that I had on this. I don't know. I don't see any written questions. I don't know if either Debbie or Laura, you wanted to add anything at this point. We've got about got a couple more minutes to go.
No, I mean, go ahead. I think you've covered it for the most part, and thank you for adding the comments about sending more than your 4. Initially, we were really wanting groups of 4, no more than 4, but if you do have a large agency, definitely send more than that to the training if you can. Debbie, were you going to pop in there?
Yeah, I was just going to say again how excited TA is about this project, and that as much as possible we will be trying to participate at the cluster level as well, so that we can connect with our assigned grantees, so that we can, be part of that action planning process to move forward and to support that sustainability. So again, hopefully we'll be seeing all of you soon in some of these clusters. So I can't tell you how how much this is really going to mean for our programs. I really totally believe in this project, and so we're looking forward to seeing it roll out.
All right, great. Laura, do you want to give folks your email address just in case people would like to follow up individually with you?
Sure. It's Laura, L-A-U-R-A, at caheadstart.org. caheadstart.org.
Awesome. Great. All right, folks. Thanks for spending this time with us. Look forward to seeing a lot of you after New Year's.
Thank you.
And,
thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.